on a quest trying to find a new reading challenge to do in 2024 since my Goodreads reading challenge, I'm so over it. So we're trying different book clubs or prizes. I'm trying to see which ones I have read from their past winners or nominees, letting you know my reviews of them. And we get to decide if that seems like a place where I should get my recommendations or maybe skip it. I have done 2 videos. I've done the Reese with the Spoon book club, and then we've done the Nebula book prizes, so we're going to do the Hugo one today, and I think it's probably going to be a strong contender for next year. I might mix this one and the Nebula one. We'll see. I feel like generally speaking, sci-fi and fantasy are where my comfort zone is. So let's go through the first, I don't know, most recent, like 10 years-ish. We'll see when I stop having read any books like the other one. So 2023 is there. They haven't chosen a winner, but I kind of wanted to give you my thoughts on the books, the nominees, because why not? We're going to focus on novels and novellas, by the way. I don't tend to read the other ones, the novellettes and everything. So the best novel, the ones I have read for 2023 prize, The Kaiju Preservation Society started really strong. It's kind of short. I'm surprised it's in the best novel section. I would say sci-fi. Someone gets to work during the pandemic, finds a new job working, trying to take care of like giant Godzilla-esque monsters. It was really funny at first, and then I kind of just lost interest whenever the action started. Honestly, this could have been a great cozy book, which it would have been better in my opinion that way. There are going to be similar nominees and reviews than the past videos. I'm going to try to go fairly quickly for those ones. Legends and Lattes, adult cozy fantasy, loved it. Orc decides to retire to open up a coffee shop. Nettle and Bone, princess that has been incredibly sheltered, go to save her sister from a bad wedding marriage. Surprised me, but enjoyed it. The Spiderman, I just finished. This is an adult sci-fi murder on a spaceship, lock room kind of murder. I overall enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would have. So out of those, personally, I would vote for Legends and Lattes. And I haven't read any of the novellas. So, okay, for 2022, the winner was A Desolation Called Peace. I've mentioned in the other video that I personally didn't care for the first book, which is a super unpopular opinion. Very strong sci-fi political intrigue. You might like it. I didn't. The other nominees, we have The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. She's one of my favorite authors. This is not my favorite book by her, but I will read anything and everything by her, so it's fine. Light from Uncommon Stars. I was told that there would be similar vibes to Becky Chambers, and you kind of get it in the beginning. You're following 3 points of view. The first one, you're following this trans girl who is basically homeless but wants to become a violinist. You have this violinist that is incredibly well-known, popular, that made a deal with the devil, and then you're following the donut lady, which I'm going to keep that vague, but her storyline ruined it in my opinion. Didn't care for the ending, but it's very good. Massive Gin, currently reading this as I'm filming this, and so far I'm really enjoying it. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I liked it okay. I still preferred The Martian. Again, unpopular opinion, a lot of people like this. I do love the concept of someone being in space trying to survive with only, their knowledge, but I found it kind of repetitive in the middle. And then She Who Became the Sun, the strongest beginning I have read in a long time. Unfortunately, it just, after, crashed and burned. You follow this girl who was told her fortune with her brother when they were young, and the woman told her brother that he was going to become someone. His name would be remembered forever kind of thing, and she would be forgotten. But her brother dies in circumstances very early, and she decides to become him. And the monastery portion in the beginning, so good, but yeah, I lost interest after that. The best novella, we have Up Song of the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. That one, I approve. So cute, cozy, sci-fi. You're following this non-binary monk that starts the world, decides to go escape in the forest, and makes an unlikely friendship with a robot. And that's all I've read in the novellas. I don't read a ton of novellas. Okay, 2021, the winner for the best novel was Network Effect. I've mentioned that again in the past video. Don't care for the series except the first book. Love the first book. Continued so long, hoping, but no. Okay, I didn't realize they were so similar. The Hugo Awards and the Nebula Awards. I should have done the videos together. But The City We Became, unfortunately, could not finish it. Piranesi, loved. I think it should have won. Black Sun took me by surprise. Adult fantasy, so strange, but in a good way. I need to continue, and that's all I've read. I did read the best novella, the winner for the best novella, which is The Empress of Salt and Fortune. Personally, it started good, but I kind of lost interest. I do have some of the other ones on my TBR for hopefully this year, maybe next year. 2020, the winner for the best novel is the first book in that series that I said I didn't care for, so it is what it is. Middle Game is a nominee. This was one of the worst books I ever read. Obviously, everyone is going to feel differently, but the magic system sounded interesting. It's like basically people trying to save the world, but they're twins, and one of them, their power is linked to language, the other one to numbers, and I don't remember what their names are, but they're dumb. Okay, straight up dumb names, like dumb. I tried the audiobook. The narration was awful. Tried the ebook, could not continue, and I finished it as an audiobook. I don't know why I forced myself. I hated this. Gideon the Knight loved Necromancer, lesbian necromancers. It's cool. It was cool. Best novella, This Is How You Lose the Time War. That one won, and I'm seeing another one that I think should have won. This is really popular. Sapphic romance. Sci-fi, time traveling, enemies battling through time. It sounds really cool, but the writing style wasn't my favorite, and I'm seeing To Be Thought Unfortunate by Becky Chambers, which was not in the other award, and this is my favorite book by her. It's so good, but it's her only book that is more negative, like less hopeful. It ends on a hopeful-ish note, but it's her most negative book, and I loved it. You're following these four astronauts that are sent on a mission to explore a solar system, trying to find something that would be habitable for humanity. Unhabitable. This is weird in English, you do that. Unhabitable? Anyway. And you following them through their mission for years. Obviously, it's a really short books, but it's... Ugh! It was great. I loved it. I have read An Absent Dream by Sean McGuire. Don't love this series. There are a few that I did like, and The Deep is on my TBR. Okay, 2019, the winner was The Calculating Stars, which is on my TBR. I bought this recently because of you. I've also read Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers. Also not my favorite by her, but I didn't hate it. Obviously, it's Becky Chambers. That's all I've read. The novella, I have read Artificial Condition, but again, I don't care for the series except the first one. I feel like 2018, we're getting towards the really good years, I feel like, for sci-fi and fantasy. The winner for the best novel was The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This is the last book in this series. Loved it. Loved it. If you liked a mix of post-apocalyptic and fantasy, absolutely. 6-week, really interesting premise. You're following this group of people in a version of a world where clones are a thing. So on a spaceship, they all wake up and someone murdered them. So it has to be one of them. Yeah, interesting premise for sure. I haven't read any of the other ones, and the novella is All System Red, the winner. That's the only one that I really cared about for this series. 2017, the winner for the best novel was The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin, which is the second book in that series. I think she won all of them for the whole series. Worth it. It was great. I do own a couple of the other ones, like All the Birds in the Sky and Nine Fox Gambit. I have not read them. I have read A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is the second book in that series, and I do think this was interesting. And That's Hand, which is the last book in this series, which The Remembrance of Earth something series. This was the concepts. Adult sci-fi, if you want to go like, you have beginner friend. This is not beginner friend. This is like sci-fi. It was great, except the sexism, the whole series, but this was great. Novellas, the winner, the best novella, the winner was Every Heart a Doorway, which is the first book in this series. I did overall enjoy the first one. The first one and the fourth one specifically are my favorites. But yeah, this was good. I've also read the nominee, The Ballad of Black Tom, which, like I mentioned in the other video, I have a few books by this author that I want to read because this was a great, weird, horror, urban fantasy book. Pretty unique from what I've read. I haven't read a ton of urban fantasy, but it was good. 2016, the winner was The Fifth Season, which is the first book in this series. Absolutely deserves that. I call this like a revenge story. You have this woman, her husband found out that their son had magic. He killed him and then kidnapped the daughter. And she goes, is gonna go through everything to get her back, and worth it. This was great. I did try Uprooted, did not care for it. I do have Ancillary Mercy on my TBR and Seven Eves, which I was supposed to read that when I used to do my big book challenge, and I choked. I didn't read it, so that is on me. 2015, the winner for the best novel was The Three Body Problem, which, yes, the first book in that series. The first book, I think, is probably... well, not the weakest, but it takes a while for things to make sense. So just like be prepared for it. But it was worth it. It was worth it. Some of the other ones that are on my TBR, The Goblin Emperor and Ancillary Sword. I have that on my shelf. The best novella, The Decided No Winner. That is strange, but okay. 2014, the best novel was Ancillary Justice. Okay, so this is the first book in that trilogy. I do have that on my shelf. I want to read that eventually. Parasite by Mira Grant. I think that's the one I have read, and it was okay. It read kind of white, to be honest. And why is The Wheel of Time? Oh, it's the last book in that series. I have not. I have only read the first book. This is on my long list of books that I need to get my shit together. It's actually part of my pile of shame, the second book, because I started it and never finished it. Now you can see what I've been seeing behind the camera, okay? She's just been insane. She has the morning zoomies. She's so adorable, but she's evil. Ooh. Look at her. She's doing good. She survived her surgery. I don't trust her still, but yeah, she's a little... Can you see how she's gripping? That's what she does when I grab her. She just on my shoulder. It's great. And I haven't read of the novellas. That's why everything I own has like blankets on top of them now, because oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go to 2013. I'm gonna keep rolling the camera for you to enjoy this chaos. The best novel was Richard. I have not read that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. I haven't read any of the novels that year, so I think we're getting into far enough that I haven't read any, or pretty much any. I have read The Emperor's Soul for the winner for the best novella. I did enjoy that. I'm usually kind of so-so with novellas, but that one was a good one. Which one are you? Oh, that's Chunky. That's not going to end well. He is not athletic. All the other ones are jumping really high, and he's just... But he's my big baby. I'm still waiting, by the way, for news for him. I am terrified. I know there's something wrong with him, and it doesn't affect his quality of life, clearly, but... Focus. The best novel for 2012 was, among others, I haven't heard of it, to be honest. I have only read Leviathan Weeks, which honestly was really mediocre. Super unpopular opinion, I know. But it felt very, like... I couldn't stand, like, cop talk. It felt very, like... But it feels slightly misogynistic the whole time, and then you have quotes that are like straight up offensive, like the one where they're comparing the moon to a cheap prostitute. I will never get over that one. That's it. That's all I read from that year. Damn. I really thought I had read like the last, I don't know, at least 10 years. Like I don't read just the new releases, so I'm really shocked that I haven't read most. I do have The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin on my TBR. What are you doing? She's literally... Clawdia? What are you doing? She's literally biting me. Like... I'm sorry, I want you to stay alive. The only chill one is Charlie. He's just sleeping under the ring light. Let me show you. See, you have Charlie here, chilling. And then you have this monster over here. How did you climb over there? Every day... She's testing me. I love her, obviously, but oh my god, is she testing me? But I haven't read any. This is... I really thought I had read older books compared to what you see on Booktube, and I feel like I did, but maybe not as much as I thought. And yeah, I think we're gonna stop because I'm looking 2008. I haven't read any. Let's look 2007. Nope. So I'm seeing that I thought maybe I've read like older, but there's a section into 2000s that apparently I have not read anything. Ooh, 2006. Spin won for the best novel. This is so underrated. I don't recommend it if you're someone that loves characters and character growth because, but the concepts, if you like concepts, like this is probably, this is not, I shouldn't say that, but it's probably the closest thing I have read to like similar-ish, no, to the Three-Body Problems. Don't quote me. This is not true. But I feel like there are some really interesting concepts. Like the same idea. Interesting sci-fi concept, science concept, but characters are not. Long story short, you have these three friends, well, two siblings, and one day they're looking at the stars and they disappear. Things happen. Yeah, interesting concept. I believe this is a trilogy, but I've heard that the rest is not great. So I've only read the first one. It reads as a standalone just fine. But yeah, it's underrated. this is cool. And out of the other nominees, I was seeing Old Man's War, which is exactly the kind of books that I was hoping I would read from my Read It or Unhaul It challenge, where I'm picking up random books that I've read, that I own, that are unread on my shelf, but I have yet to pick it up. It's like right there, but yeah, one day. I'm glad I kept looking back because Spin, so underrated, honestly. And Nothing 2003, so we're gonna stop here. Obviously, if I end up choosing this as an award that I want to do for my reading challenge, I'm really thinking now that I'm going to mix maybe Nebula and Hugo Award, because they have so many really similar nominees and winners. If I end up choosing that, I'll probably start maybe next year with more recent ones that I already have on my TBR, and then if I do it again, I can go further and further, try to find other ones that I haven't heard of as much. So yeah, I think that compared to, again, the Reese Witherspoon book club, to be fair, that one is like out of my comfort zone. But I think that the Hugo Award might be a strong contender for my new challenge for next year, because the Goodreads Choice Award, I really wanted it to work for me. And I think it is still good to keep up with new releases, but I feel like the winners are I never agree pretty much. And like, I don't necessarily mind for like sci-fi and fantasy in general, because I know it's going to be a popularity contest, and like if Sarah J Maas is there, for example, she's going to win, which is like whatever. But my main issue is that I get really angry for the mystery thrillers, because I will have read like, out of the 20 nominees, sometimes I've read like 10 and I have only liked like 1 or 2, and they're really not close to the top. I don't understand how it works. That's not true. I do understand, because book clubs like the Reese Witherspoon book club, everyone reads it, so they vote for it because it's the only one they have read. That's my theory. And I really resent that, because the recommendations from there. But that's why I'm trying to switch it up and do a different one. I think that this could be successful. So let me know in the comment section how you felt about the books I've mentioned, or the ones I haven't mentioned that I should pick up. And if there are any other awards or book clubs you want me to try, I have a few that you gave me in the past. So I'll probably do this video a couple more times. And then if I don't end up doing them for like the whole year next year, I'll do small little reading vlogs where I try a couple of them, just to see if I want to do that again in the future, because I don't have to stick to the same one every year, right? So yeah, that's going to be it. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'll put more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out. And let me grab a cat. This is Chunky. He's always mildly confused. He's very interested in my lip gloss. Please do not lick me. He's the best though. He's always the best. Honestly. Sweet baby. Oh. Show your face to the people. I have little bat wings costume for a cat. He needs to wear them, because his teeth are always like hanging out. It would be the best. I'll see you in my next video.